ESU interview series. My guest today is the man who runs it all, and he's also a doctor, Dr. Brian Hodge. All right, so how's your day?
Oh, wonderful. Got to teach some piano students and make further progress on recordings for our musical that's coming up, so busy but productive, the way it always is.
As always. All right, so first question, kind of tell us about yourself, like basically give us your journey here.
All right, so born and raised in Tennessee, grew up on the east side of the state, which is a lot like this area. So Appalachian Mountains. I wouldn't say a particularly musical family, but my mother was a saxophone player in high school, and when I began in my 5th grade year, I wanted to join into the band family because it was what my mom did, so it was cool. Back when, before the age where your parents are not cool anymore. So joined in with that, and I found that I really enjoyed the process. It gave me access to a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have had outside of that, going to regional clinic bands and then eventually to all-state and to collegiate ensemble bands. So when I graduated, originally I wanted to go into medicine, specifically to be a pediatric cardiologist or a pediatrician at the very least, and then after a couple of rounds of organic chemistry, decided that music major might have been a better choice for me. And honestly, it was a bit of a crisis of conscience because one of my friends had said, if you don't go into music, what will you miss? And so I started thinking about all these crazy ideas I have for how we can reinvent and reorganize our approach to ensembles. And we're starting to see that proliferation, especially in groups like Too Many Zoos, or just these radical approaches to new ways of doing things. And I really want to be a part of that innovation. And so I got my degree in music education, taught for 6 years in a small rural high school in East Tennessee, and knew that I needed to get better at my craft. So at that point in time, I applied for several grad schools and ended up going to the University of Memphis. The band director there is absolutely a wonderful human being, and there he actually shaped me, yes, with technique and things like that, but more with his ethos and his approach to the universe. He is one of the biggest proponents of an attitude of gratitude I'd ever met and worked with in my life. He is an extremely grateful person for everything he has received. Dr. Albert Wynn, born and raised in Arkansas, but his family's from Vietnam, so he knew what it was like why appreciation was and gratitude was such an important characteristic to foster. And through his model, I definitely grew from that. After finishing my master's degree, I went to the University of Arizona to be their assistant athletic band director and enjoyed some time out in Tucson. It was wonderful being in the sunshine all year long. Swimming in January and February outside was an experience I wish I could repeat. But again, at the end of my time there, I felt like I needed more education still, and then my son was born, and so we wanted to be closer to family. So I came back and started my doctorate at the University of Memphis. While there, I got some other opportunities. I was appointed as the band director, basically, for a small university there, Rhodes College. Beautiful campus, one of the most beautiful in the country, honestly. And of course, I was playing all the time, and then I'm starting to wrap up the studies part of my degree and getting to the writing the dissertation portion. And it just so happened that the ESU job posted, and it was a very unique setup that they were looking for. Really, they were looking for a very specific needle in a haystack, because band directors, yes, they can do this, that, and the other, but to have such a diverse skill set is kind of a rare find, and it's fortunately one that I've cultivated my entire life between the piano, working with choral groups, working with theater groups, working with everyone in my pursuit to find the new innovations in music. It really fit me well. It's in a beautiful area, right next to New York City and Philly. I mean, it's a great place to be. So it was an obvious choice whenever I got offered the position here.
Nice. That kind of leads me to my next question. Why here? Why did you choose the ESU? What made you choose us over other institutions?
A few things. One, obviously, I talked about the location, but the potential. I think that there is a wellspring of potential here to forge something that is unique. A lot of people might really, for instance, one of my alma maters, the University of Tennessee, had 2 jobs open this year. I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole, even though it pays triple what I make here. There's so much tradition and legacy in the band programs there that innovation is impossible. You cannot create something new in a place where that's the way we've always done it, is their motto. Here, it was not the best situation that you all had been through, but it was something exciting and new could be built from. So that potential, and then of course, working with the students, you all don't know this, but you all are a really good group of students. And I do try to reinforce that and tell you all that, but I have worked with programs where I dreaded going into ensemble. I did not look forward to the experience of having to deal with those people. Here, I love every time I get to stand on the box. Every time I get to, dragging all this stuff out from marching band isn't fun, but getting out there on the field is. And getting to see the product grow is. So working with you all, and I could get an idea of your all's character from the moment that I interviewed and got to work with some of the alumni now, AJ and Caitlin, and Matt was there that day, I believe you were there. So and seeing the spirit that the band had, and then finding out that you all have been keeping this thing going out of sheer love for the process in the absence of any kind of full-time director. I knew that here was the potential not just to expand the innovation side of it, but also to work with a crew that would buy into that vision and to see the unique possibilities of this position.
Thank you for believing in us, and it's kind of, I would just say.
Absolutely.
Just like a quick history, back in 2013, 2014, Dr. French, our previous band director, in lieu of the music program being shut down, he was ultimately let go, and then we had a couple adjunct professors step and fill the role. But back in 2018, that's when Dr. Hodge came and rescued us, so to say. When you talked about the interview, what struck me was your passion and philosophy towards music. Could you just kind of describe that passion and philosophies?
Absolutely. Well, I believe that in the Duke Ellington School, I guess you could say, if it sounds good, it is good. If we like what we're doing and we love what we're hearing and we can make an effective connection to our art, then it's a good process. As far as music and education goes, though, music in the community serves to fill 2 roles. One is an aesthetic connection to art. We are creating something, and music is such a cool experience because it's temporal. It only exists in the moment in which it's created. It is not like sculpture, which you carve into the marble, and you have something forever. No, it's fleeting. It's there one moment, and then it exists only in your memory. So we are drawn to that as a species, as a people, as a culture. We are drawn to the creation and the performance of music. It's a cultural touchstone for us. And then as a natural extension of that, we develop social bonds through that. Band, choir, it's all such a great way to connect with each other on an individual level. And so those are really the 2 core tenets of my approach to music and education, is that play music that people want to play and people want to hear. Play music that you're excited about, that brings you joy, and provide an atmosphere that is based on trust, that you are free to grow from, and that you come together and have a good time experiencing this shared experience. One of the hardest things I think is the first step as getting used to people working with me is letting them know that failure is okay. In fact, failure is a necessity to growth. you have to fail. If you're doing things right, we're not challenging you enough. If you're breezing through everything, you've not got enough on your plate. You have to be challenged to grow, and you have to have a safe environment for that to happen. So always creating that. We toss about the term safe space, but really a safe space for artistic expression. A place where it's okay for something to go wrong, so that way you can learn to do it right and to grow from that.
Awesome. You keep talking about innovation. Like, tell us about your innovation, your thoughts on innovation and experimentations with music, teaching, whatever have you, show writing. You seem to have a willingness that other directors, at least in my scope of the music role, don't seem to have.
I agree with that. Several reasons for that. I think that there is a natural place for the pageantry in marching band for something new to be created. And people are experimenting, but they're experimenting in different ways. You have the national band circuit, like Bands of America, or US bands, that are pushing it towards a very artistic and aesthetic type of thing, where you might see the story of Romeo and Juliet told with original music with lots of interpretive dance, and it's a great educational tool. I wonder how it connects to an audience. So I think the innovation is great in that you still have to make a connection. So when I'm thinking about marching band, I'm thinking about what is the most effective and interesting and enjoyable presentation for an audience to see and to want to see again and again and again. And I look to my model as the Super Bowls, the Super Bowl halftime shows with Beyonce and Bruno Mars, all these great artists who come together. And it's a true spectacle. It's a spectacle built around music that people are aware of, that they know, that they have, that the audience has a cultural connection to. That's not just some sort of strange amalgam that's been created for the field. And I think that there's a lot that can be done there, and a lot that we have yet to explore. And there's nothing wrong with creating shows that not necessarily have the musical connection to the audience, as long as you are doing something with it that is giving them value. And an obvious analog to that is film. So people go to movies, they're not familiar with the scores. Eventually, some of the scores may become popular, John Williams or Alan Silvestri's themes, but it's through that connection with the drama that's happening on stage or on the screen. So I think that those elements can be put into play. I have ideas for wild shows, a pirates show that features a ship coming onto the field, and pirates leading the ship and going through some of the stereotypical stuff that you might see from a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you know, the elements that they built the tropes on, or ninjas telling the story of some sort of Japanese feudal story. So many options, and I've seen people start to experiment with ways to communicate it, but there's so many miles more that we can go through. And so I love the idea of incorporating not just winds and percussion and guard into the field presentation, but vocalists, string players, keyboards, dancers. Make it a spectacle, make it a show. Push the envelope of what exists, and then once you've pushed it, find out where the next place you can go is. How can we do more? Can we get lighting on the field? That'd be cool. I've seen Boston Crusaders do that before, where they did some shadow play, and the ideas are all over us, and so I'm always looking for how can we make this more interesting, more entertaining, more engaging, more fulfilling for the students, more enriching to their aesthetic growth, all at the same time. So, and that's one of the reasons I was really excited to be here, is because there isn't 120 years of tradition to build upon, such as, with Penn State's Big Blue Band. It's ESU. We can do whatever we want to. We're free to forge our identity here. And so I love that.
Do you have a favorite show, musical selection that you've done with us? Give me any one of your ensembles.
Let's see, favorite things that I've done. Honestly, the marching band, my favorite show that we've done was the one in 2019, but the favorite piece that we've done You can tell which ones are my favorite because they get brought back for the stands charts. Probably Disturbed, 10,000 Fists. It's such an angry and aggressive piece, and when the environment calls for it, it's such a good tool to just go up like that, right? It's like a better Seven Nation Army that every band in the country plays, because not everybody wants to take a look at that opening digga-da-da, digga-digga, digga-digga, digga, even though once you get it down, it's easy. So, for the concert band, my favorite piece might have been the Symphony No. 1 by Daniel Buchwitch, the In Memoriam of Dresden, that featured the aleatoric music that told the story of the Allied bombing of the city of Dresden during World War II. That is a very emotional piece. It's hard for me to not get chill bumps as you build towards the climax of that work. And I think it had a profound impact on several of our listeners. I think that you all probably got a good bit out of it, because at the end you're replicating what it was like to be in the city. And we had drummers across the room dropping bombs. We had the ensemble, the Firestorm building, and it was a very profound moment. And then of course I love being taking over for Dr. Vashlishan last semester in jazz band. That was just a great concert, man. Children, it was like, okay, I've got this one semester, let's do everything I want to do. And so that's what we did. We did most of the pieces that I've always wanted to try. And if I ever get another run, I've got some more ideas. But Children of Sanchez and Birdland, it was hard saying, okay, maybe we're doing too much. But I wanted to do this piece too. So that was a great time.
I would definitely say like one of my personal favorites, like you said, the 2019 show, Dresden, which 2019. What struck me like about that show in particular compared to other shows like 2018, this year's show, is just like you said, keep trying with that innovation, the MC on the field.
Yes.
Where marching band does that.
Exactly. And fortunately, with our enhanced scholarships that are for the incoming Pennsylvania freshmen, where they can get half off tuition by being a part of the band, there's no reason we can't have vocalists receiving that same scholarship and really go back. That's the mode I want to expand upon. That is where I want to see us going. I'm very excited if we can get, especially if we get the numbers that I'm hoping to get and we're starting to see develop moving into next year. There's some really cool stuff we're going to get to try.
Looking forward to it. I will be here next year, so.
Well, you can always come back.
Harking back to our previous discussion, like I said, ESU lost its music major back in 2013-14. Through your ambition and determination, we now have a music minor.
We do.
How does it feel? Yeah. How does it feel knowing like you have at least brought something back with a great possibility of growing it even more?
Oh, absolutely. It's wonderful to see that first step being taken. Whether or not we'll have a full music major or not in the future, that really depends upon how far we can grow. We really have to develop the size of the ensembles and get the choir growing, get everything growing, and let it come organically. But it's great that we now have a foundation to build upon. Now we can start adding classes to the school and start expanding what we can offer. A class that I feel like is absolutely essential, and particularly in a campus that values diversity so much as this one. We need a world music class. We need a class where we can listen to the music of Japan and Korea, and not just the classical music and their operas, which are a fascinating study in and of itself, but K-pop, J-pop. You all need to know what's going on in Indian music. There's so much cool stuff out there in the world. Native American music. We have no classes which teach that here. Why not? It's such a great avenue for exploring something outside of your own sphere of knowledge. Now we have a minor that can count towards. So getting classes like that in, maybe a piano class where we're actually teaching people how to play piano. Things like that. We have the facilities for it. Why aren't we taking advantage of it? So it's given us a framework for which growth is possible. It also, I think, makes us a more attractive option for students who are, they want to be a science major, but they love music and they're going to be in band for 4 years anyway, so 6 credits of band, check. Music fundamentals, learn a little bit more of how to read music, That's an easy get. Some music history, and even learning how to do some sound recording over in the with our partnership with the DMET program. Gives them a really solid base to further their study in music, but in a way that sets them up for a successful and enjoyable life as a lover and performer, while they're working another job making actual money.
I can say I can probably speak on behalf of the other members of the band. I would say that you have shaped us as musicians and people. How would you say that we have shaped you, so to say?
Well, I think that some of the biggest ways is making sure that it's reinforced and continues to reinforce that everything we do is about the people. You know, the people in the process. The product will come. Our concert on May 1st will be fantastic. But if I have to browbeat you all to achieve the concert, then it's not a positive experience because we forget it's about the people. And it's really hardwired that coming from gratitude, being appreciative for all the moments that we get. And considering that we were barely back together last year because of COVID, working with you all has definitely taught and reinforces the idea that it's all about the people. It's all about the human connection. When you don't care about the people, and you just want that great musical product, it's not going to happen. Yeah, you can get a great performance out of it, but at what expense? So, placing the value of your fellow man above that of pretty much anything else, that is something that continues to be reinforced. Caring about my students as people more than my students as musicians creating a product. I've worked with band directors who take the second approach, and it's never been a pleasant experience. Other ways, I would say that one of the strengths of this program is that you all have bought into it's okay to fail, so therefore you're willing to try stuff. You know, for the concert upcoming, we're doing river dance. All the wind players are playing percussion. You're willing to try things, and you're willing to fail, trusting that even if it's not perfect, it's going to be interesting and enjoyable experience to go through and for the audience to watch. And it will be. So, learning how to work with the nearly limitless options that I'm given from you all it's a great time. So,
I'm happy that we can let you do that.
Absolutely.
A more lighthearted question. What's your favorite food?
I love sushi. That is once a year on my birthday or around my birthday. We go to some place and the family will get whatever they get, but I get the sushi boat. And that's the only time of year that I let myself buy as much sushi as I actually want to eat. So, definitely sushi. Close second would be a good ribeye steak and potato, the meat and veg, thing. But no. Give me some spicy sushi and I'm a happy guy.
Nice. Good choices.
Absolutely.
All right. Going into 22-23 school year, this will be your 5th year as the director of bands here. You've done so many great things.
Thank you.
Sorry, I like to gaslight you.
That's all right.
What do you hope to see achieved in the next 5 years?
Well, over the next 5 years, I would like to see the program continue to grow. Like I said, with this new scholarship opportunity, we're already starting to see some major results as far as more students showing interest and signing up and being offered these scholarships. As that gets established within our Pennsylvania base, I want to expand east. I want to start really looking into New Jersey and to New York because ESU is such a good value for them. We are cheaper as an out-of-state institution than pretty much any school that they have in-state. And by providing them with a great band home or a great choir home, a great home for them to come into and connect with, we've become a very attractive solution. My 5-year goal for the band program itself is to see it grow to as large as I can get it and to continue to push the idea of innovation, getting the full choir and orchestra on the field. Yes, string orchestra. I'd love to see it on the field, along with the guitars and synthesizers, and of course, wind players, battery percussion, mallet percussion, guard members, our root and core. I'd like to see us be able to break into small funk bands. So we take an instrumentalist, we pair them with several wind players and a guitarist and a bassist and a drummer, and we have self-contained bands that can be of various styles that are built out of an extension of the marching band. So we can go and do gigs, we can go and connect with the community. Yesterday I went to Rogue Tacos. It's like, I'd love for you guys to bring a band down sometime. I was like, yeah, me too. So the community is wanting those connections. I want to give them those connections, and as we continue to develop our numbers, we can provide more opportunities for those. My dream would be to get us to the size that I would love us to be at, so that we can be in the major American events like the Macy's Parade, or the Chicago St. Patrick's Day Parade, or the Lord Mayor of London's New Year's Day Parade. Getting us to some of these major events, because I think, especially with the way we do things around here, being on the national scene would shock a lot of people as to the potentiality of the organization. So, but yeah, that's what I want us to become, is a great place to be, because we believe in the right things, or at least I think we believe in the right things, and a place where we try things and occasionally they work,
So my last question here is, could you possibly give us a sneak peek of what's coming up on the 2022-2023 program, and if you have anything to say to our viewers who may be future members of this band?
Absolutely. Well, so I've always wanted to do It's Raining Men on the Field. It's such a cool chart, but it's such a very specific chart. So I've come up with the idea, especially assuming we get the growth that we hope to have, of doing a disco show or a disco bass show, opening with some Earth, Wind & Fire, because In the Stone is such a classic marching band chart, but it can be spiced up with our style, the way that we do things around here, and building a medley around Earth, Wind & Fire charts, going into some women of disco, because women were such a major role in that art style. And then I think I might be fun to disco-fy some whatever's popular this summer, man. I like the idea of approaching music from a stylistic standpoint, much as we did with the ska show this year, and experimenting with ways to do things, right? So for the marching band, that's kind of what I have on the back burner. Disco's a lot of fun. I know it gets a bad rap as trashy, but it's a good time, man. It really is. If it sounds good, it is good. As far as the concert bands, we'll see. There are some pieces that are in my things I want to do list. We haven't done First Week here, not a concert. I would love to host. It is one of I believe in doing something major and something that is considered a icon of the medium. So we might be looking to host one next year. And then we'll probably, we'll see what happens with Jazz Band. With me not running the musical next year, if Dr. Baxter is not able to be a part of it, then we'll see what we can do. I think the Channel 1 suite by Buddy Rich will be a lot of fun. It's a great piece. As far as for people that are thinking about choosing ESU, we really value the community here. It is one, I think, of our greatest strengths. We take the social aspect as seriously as we do the music. And this is seen in events like when we turn this building into a haunted house, or when we go out to places like Mayzilla or to Kalahari. When we do, or the skating rink even, we get together and have fun together as a point of importance. It is important for us to come together and do things together outside of create music. And I've not been in a lot of band programs that take that to such a degree that we do. And I think it's important that we continue to do that. So when we say we're joining a band family here, we actually really mean it. It's not just something we say, it's something we do. We make music together, we play together, we have fun together, we have game nights, and we play good music. We make sure that the experience that the students have is the one that they would choose to have. I'm basically trying to run the band like, if I was a student in college or in high school, what would be my dream band program? That's what I'm trying to build here. And that twin focus on playing the best music that the audiences that we're going to go in front of are going to love, and developing a truly engaging, enjoyable, social experience for the students are the two critical pillars on which that's built. So if that sounds like something that someone would like to be a part of, I am getting half off tuition. That's kind of good. That comes out to about $16,000 over the course of 4 years. And so if they want to save $16,000 possibly, come be in the marching band. Whether you're a singer, a violinist, cellist, you play electric guitar or bass, or you're a pianist, or you're a dancer. If you are a performer, we will find a way for you to be a part of the family. So.
Well, thank you for your time. I know you're very busy.
My pleasure. Yeah. I've got to do a rehearsal with one of my singers for the production of Legally Blonde, running April 21st through 24th. So, again, great times.
Again, thank you.
My pleasure.
For our viewers, I hope you learned something about Dr. Hodge. He's a very interesting and very thoughtful man. So just be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, whatever have you, social media stuff. So until then, have a great day, and see you later.